Hello, everybody. Ella J here on behalf of SEScoops, and today I am joined by the French Hope, Amale. So, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited to be chatting with you today. You have so much going on right now. Of course, we'll kind of start with one of the most popular things about you. Obviously, you were the first ever French female to ever sign with WWE, but also later on, we got to see another one of my favorite girls, another French
Mm.
female frequent NXT UK, that being Mila Smith. So, how was that representing France on WWE programming and what it meant to you, and then the addition of Mila too?
Representation is something I really care about because when I was younger, looking back, I didn't have anyone to look up to, anyone who looked like me. So I wanted to be that person for somebody, and for all the French people, this is the reason why it's really important to me. So yeah, it have been really cool to be able to do it.
Of course, and we got to see you and Mila go at it a little bit in NXT UK, but you primarily worked under the NXT UK umbrella for the better half of the last 2 years, sharing the ring and locker room with some of the absolute best in the world, including Meiko Satomura, former NXT UK Women's Champion. So, what was that experience like sharing the ring with the veteran like Meiko?
That was amazing. It was exciting but scary at the same time, I will say. I faced her before WWE with WXW. I had a match against her, and it was really intense at that time already. But I felt like I stepped up with the WWE one, and it was really intense. I think it's one of the highlights of my career so far there. So I really keep a good feeling about it.
Yeah, Mako and yourself were obviously part of, at least from what I see, this very talented locker room. You had like a Stevie Turner and Aaliyah James, Isla Dawn, so many amazing women in the NXT UK locker room. What would you say has been the overall atmosphere of the locker room?
The overall atmosphere was really good. Everyone was just trying to help each other, lift everyone up, giving advices for people that just get in. It was really cool to be around there. Yeah.
Who would you say is the funniest? Because I feel like that's not something we get to see often portrayed because everybody has their own characters and stuff. But like backstage, who would you say is the funniest, maybe?
Uh, I would say I'm very funny.
Okay.
But I'm funny in French though, so I would say Nina Samuels was very funny. Everything around the Nina Samuels show was always really entertaining. Sha Samuels as well. They have the same name, but yeah, some of them. That was cool.
How would you describe your sense of humor? You say you're pretty funny. How would you describe your sense of humor?
Uh, I just like to laugh and make jokes and just uh be chill around people, you know?
Yeah, I totally it's especially too in this sport like wrestling, you kind of like not everything is so serious all the time. So it's good that
Exactly.
that all of you were able to still have fun with it too.
Of course. Of course.
And I feel like too, you're a veteran in the game, I would say, but during your time in NXT UK, maybe one is Mako. Was there anyone backstage that you looked up to or you felt like really served as a mentor to you?
Yeah, there was Kelly Ray, Alba Fire now in NXT. She was she is so talented, and she was like the longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion and everything. And it was just so inspiring to see her around and to see her being that leader that just want to help people and give advice. And she was watching our matches and just helping us, giving us advice, stuff like that. So, yeah, I keep a very cool souvenir of her. I will say GD McDonough as well, Jordan Devlin, former Jordan Devlin. He was as well always really helping and he believed in us. He is someone that understands the business and how pro wrestling works really well, so he can like share it and help us grow. So yeah.
Was there any particular advice from either Jordan or Alpha Fire Kaylee Ray that that has really stuck with you, you think?
Yeah, that was something I just wrote it down so I don't have to I don't forget it. It was from Jordan actually. He said to me, the person who loves walking will go further than the person who loves the destination. So when you fall in love with the journey, everything else takes care of itself. And I feel like it's the most important isn't the destination, but how you get there. And the journey is all that matters. And I'm trying to keep that advice.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good one.
in life in general, of course, like the final destination is obviously like everybody shoots for whatever dream that they have, but it's also
Exactly.
like you don't want to get lost in just the destination and enjoy the moments in your journey. And you've had a lot of moments in your career that I'm sure you are definitely proud of, and you reached a pinnacle, but also not forgetting kind of where you come from and all the steps that led up to it.
Exactly. Just take a pause, breathe, and like take that moment to see everything you've done already and you've accomplished, and don't be like too hard on yourself for what's next.
Trust me, I completely understand that. I feel like in life in general too, it's hard sometimes not to get caught up with it. And we're kind of looking forward to the future now. Obviously, this next year in women's wrestling, you obviously have established yourself, I would say, as a veteran in the game. So are there any talents that have been on your radar right now, or ones you think we should be taking notice of?
I would like to talk about the French wrestling scene, of course. My French people, I feel like with NXT Europe coming up, we're gonna have more opportunities for everyone across Europe, but especially in France, it's kind of big country, so I think there's gonna be a lot for everyone. But yeah, people like Aigle Blanc, Senza Volto, we've seen them in WXW, they're champion there. Kuro, he's getting bigger exposure. People like Calypso, Anastasia, they were as well in WXW for Femme Fatale. So yeah, I think there's a lot like generation of young and angry talent that deserve to be shown and showcased in a bigger show.
We saw a little bit, at least, of the women wise. You recently did like this kind of documentary type video on YouTube. So we
Yeah.
got to see, I was already familiar with a couple of them because I follow a
Okay.
bunch of them, but like I feel like it was really good exposure for the lot for yourself and like the locker room, especially kind of in the European scene that's outside of the UK, because I feel like it's not spotlighted as well. So I mean, can you tell us
Nice.
more about that? That was a super cool opportunity that I watched you in.
The company and a lot of French media wanted to follow my journey about wrestling, even when I was in WWE, because it's something that have never been done in France, and French people are not familiar with professional wrestling. So, but we had trouble filming something while I was under contract. So now that I was free, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get more exposure for the French wrestling scene. So it was really cool, and to be able to do it in France, in Paris, with all these people that I've said before, that was really cool. And I think that had like really good exposure, even for people outside of wrestling that even didn't know what wrestling is about.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to get more people in.
That was a super cool opportunity, kind of like a behind the scenes, but also like giving good exposure, I feel like, too, like you said, for the French wrestling scene. And you mentioned obviously the launch of NXT Europe is looming, I believe, next year. So I don't know, were you ever configured into any of the plans, or do you know if you'll have any involvement in the expansion going forward?
So we've heard that they want to get back some of the former NXT UK people, but I have no clue what's going on or what's gonna happen. So I'm just like wait and see. I'm just focusing on what I can control and what I can do right now and tomorrow, not like next year. It's really far away, so I just need to get things done now, and we will see what happens.
Okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, we haven't heard a lot of information about it
Yeah,
going forward, except that it's coming. We don't really know when, so I'm sure they
exactly.
have to get their whole, because it's one thing to expand from the UK to all of Europe, so there's probably got to be a lot of ducks in a row for all of this to officially begin. But since you have been free, you have returned to the independent circuit with appearances in WXW and PWH, for example, but can you describe your overall feeling of returning to the independent scene and some takeaways from being back?
I feel like I'm falling in love with wrestling again, like going back into the roads and seeing new people all the time, new countries, having new opportunities. That's really like everything I love about wrestling. I just regret that I I was signed during like it was like kind of bad timing because of, like with the COVID situation and everything. We've been out for so long, and then we had it was pre-taped, so we were there only a few weeks, and then after nothing for 6 weeks, stuff like that. So I wish it was different, but now I'm just more free. I can travel and can do whatever I want, so it's still cool.
And you obviously like exude this big message of hope in your life, and of course that goes with the French hope and all of that. So maybe the one was maybe from Jordan Devlin that you mentioned earlier, but has there been any advice related to professional wrestling that has really stuck with you, and who was it from? Maybe it was Devlin.
Um, I had something else like when I started going to NXT UK to the PC, it was really hard for me because I didn't know anyone. It was a new language. Like everything was new to me, new country, new language, new people. They're already established as well, so I wasn't really confident going into that, to be honest. So when you can see when someone is not confident. I wasn't confident even at training, and the trainer at that time, James Mason, saw that, and
Hmm.
he just took me on the side and he told me, "Oh, you are here because you are good. It's not because you're just friends. You have something, you are good, so be confident and it's gonna be okay." So um it really stuck to me and it really helped me get more confidence into the ring after that. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, confidence is one thing that, trust me, I feel like a lot of people have struggled with that. And it takes time too. And I feel like with
Of
age and
course, of course.
experience too, everybody
Yeah.
has their own unique perspectives and experiences in life. So definitely better, easier said than done. But you've been accomplishing a lot of your goals. And I feel like one of your goals is obviously to travel to Japan. So with the Forbidden Door being kind of wide open over the last year or so, who are some talents from anywhere across the world you've been yearning to have a match with now that you have more flexibility with your schedule?
um as usual, I always say that, but like Mickey James is one of my favorite wrestler ever, so
That's my
I can
girl.
see her on the background.
You have no idea. That's my girl.
She's just unbelievable, and she wrestled in France a few months ago.
Against Lizzie. Oh,
Um,
yeah. Well, against Lizzie, and then she was against Shanna, right?
yeah, in
Yeah.
France, south of France. So yeah, so maybe in the future, hopefully, I would love that. We'll sell talent like Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Bailey, of course. I would like to wrestle Meiko again. At Stardom, I would like to wrestle as much as possible, as many talents as possible around the world in as many countries as possible. In Japan as well, like you said, I would love to go to Japan. People like Julia, Shuri, Utami, Mizuki, people like that. Yeah, I would like to train as well in Japan. So that's one of my goals for the future. Even if I don't have any matches, I just want to go there and just get better.
Now I'm curious. I mean, I know why I love Mickey James, but what about Mickey like really captivates you or really wants you to square off with her?
I would love that. Like, I will do anything with Mickey James.
Fair.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that's my girl. So ironically, the first two people you named were Mickey and Charlotte, which is literally my dream match. So we can
Oh,
easily just make it a triple threat match.
that
So
would be
like
sick. Thank you.
there you go.
That's the
So
one.
but I mean, you've been traveling. You were also recently part of the tapings at the Ring of Pakistan season 3. I believe Mariah May was there as well. So
Yeah.
can you tell us more about the project and your involvement and how it all came together?
So I used to know a guy, Bacha Pawakan, who is a French wrestler, but like he's original from Pakistan. So he just wanted to do a pro wrestling show in his own country. So he started Ring of Pakistan, and every year he just tried to bring new people and make something really cool. They didn't had the chance to do it in the during the last couple of years because of COVID.
COVID.
So they wanted to do something bigger now and with like a bigger purpose behind it. So um unfortunately they had flood affected in Pakistan. So what we did is we tried to raise money to help them. So we've been there once last month just to do like a media week, just to try to get as many sponsors as possible, as to raise as much money as possible. Sorry, and then we are going back. We're gonna have a show, and everything we're gonna make is gonna be for these people to help them just get a decent life.
That's absolutely amazing, and I believe the projected release date, I believe, is in November for ROP. So, I mean, also, I don't know if this was your first time to Pakistan, but can you tell us more about your takeaways just from being in a new country, assuming it was your first time being there?
Yeah, so it was originally planned for November, but it might be moving to December.
Okay,
We don't have the confirmation yet,
got it.
but yeah, it was my very first time in Pakistan. At first, I was like kind of oh, I don't know, because you know you hear stuff about countries like Pakistan that just scares you, and everyone was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't go and stuff like that. I was like, it was for a very good cause, so I just wanted to do it anyway. So I went there, and it was absolutely amazing. Everything was so good. The Pakistani army escorted us from the airport to everywhere we've been. It was like the safest I've ever felt. And yeah, just to be able to use what I do best, and what I love, just to help people, that really meant a lot to me. And I hope I can do that more in the future.
Well, we look forward to season 3 of The Ring of Pakistan. Whenever that ends up being released, I'm sure you'll have some great matches and roles in there. We look forward to that. But
Thank
you
you.
talk about wanting to put your best forward, and I want to talk about your ring gear, which I am obsessed with. So, what is the source or inspiration, or maybe the story behind your favorite piece of ring gear?
So my favorite piece of ring gear is my jacket, probably. I think it's very like beautiful. It looks like just royalty with the French up in the back and all the graphism and stuff. So I wanted to get both of my countries represented. It's a bit like my nickname, French Hope. I just wanted this Moroccan side, and all the graphism on it just looked like very Moroccan style. Because both of my parents are Moroccan, so
Yeah.
I'm not just only French. Um, so yeah, I just think it's really cool. It's beautiful. I just love fashion. I love to look cool, and I think it does look cool. So
It absolutely does. I'm obsessed with your gold and black ring gear too.
oh,
That's
thank
like
you.
that's a staple, I feel like, of the French Hope. But from your perspective, who do you think has the best ring gear game or aesthetic today in pro wrestling?
That's a tough one. Everyone is trying to be
I
different, and
know.
everyone stands out on his own way. But I will say definitely Charlotte. Flair. People like Charlotte Flair, she always look amazing. She always have new things. She always have something special in her gear and her entrance. It's just like magnificent. Everything looks really so good, so good. Who else? Sasha Banks, of course. To me, Sasha Banks is like has the total package. She's always so fashionable. Um, Probably Zelina Vega as well.
Oh my
She's
gosh,
always
yes.
so
Especially
like
with her new total, I mean, she's always rocked it, but especially with her new like platinum blonde hair and her ring gear, I feel like it just goes, I mean, she's like also like she's the queen of the ring the
yeah,
last
she
year, so
just
I
looked
feel like
like a queen. I mean,
exactly.
yeah, she's perfect. Yeah, I'll put to say another like promotion, probably Britt Baker as well. She always have like really fancy gears, always new ones. Try to do something special wherever she goes. Pittsburgh, for example, on the back, stuff like that. So yeah.
I'm excited. I am one who like I feel like that's an underappreciated art because it costs probably so much money and time
It
planning,
does.
getting it done, like if there needs to be I feel like it also just ties everything in together for performers and
And
everything.
then sometimes you have something in your mind, and then that the final result don't look like
Yeah.
what you wanted and stuff like that. It's really long and difficult process to get uh what you want.
So, but you talk about being obviously exuding the French hope. For those who maybe don't know, how did you earn the nickname the French Hope?
So it's exactly like the jacket. Like I wanted to get both my cultures represented in what I was doing because I felt like having a nickname that has a meaning will be easier and will make more sense for everything I was doing. So I was previously just like ML. I used the name Winchester, and then I was like, oh, maybe I should try something that makes more sense. What will make more sense to me? And it was the fact that I am French and Moroccan. Both my parents are Moroccan, but I'm born in France. So my real name is Amale. It means hope in Arabic. So I kept that like Moroccan side and French for the French side. So French hope.
I feel like too this message of hope also exudes kind of this never giving up spirit. So, what would you say is maybe one challenge you've overcome in your life, wrestling related or not, where you really felt that you embodied this never giving up mentality and the essence of the French hope?
Um, I feel like all this like French hope, hope never dies, and like gimmick. It's not really gimmick. It's like a lot of moments in my life have been preparing me for this, and I feel like something the most important the thing that really made an impact in my life is just moving from my family. All the sacrifices you have to go through to get into this life, just being away from everyone, traveling all the time, just being alone. This is something really not easy. Then when I started wrestling, it wasn't really easy neither because France, there's no wrestling, a big wrestling scene in France. Back in the days, it was really worse than today. So just being able to even train was hard because I needed to travel to other cities and stuff like that. So I felt like everything was a challenge, but I went through and yeah, never give up. Like
It definitely better easier said than done, but you have that constant reminder kind of on your gear is like a little like homage to that. And so I
yeah,
think
like
that
on my roof very first gear I had my wristbands with the French flag on it, and on the inside it was like something like believe in yourself, everything is possible, just to remind me every time, even during matches, I just have to look at my wrist and just remember it.
there you go. I mean, dream big, never give up. Kind of sounds like a little bit of John Cena, but you know what? This is professional wrestling, so
It
you
is.
embody the French hope. I feel like you have a great message too to the younger audience. I feel too, and just like an actual real life thing. Like you have a unique background, and so I feel like it just all ties in together.
Thank
But
you.
I mean, on those days, if you're like having an off day, how do you kind of maybe lift yourself back up or rejuvenate your spirits if you're having an off day or feeling a little bit down?
I would say I just like try to get as close as possible to my family and my loved ones, my friends and everything. Try to do something that I like other than just like wrestling. Try to focus on myself, what I need, what my body needs as well. Sometimes we just forget to listen to our bodies. But yeah, and rest. I love I like resting. Just doing nothing. That's just like
It's one of my favorite pastimes. I don't
it's
get to do it a lot, but it's one of my favorite pastimes.
uh
But I think that's I feel like too, especially as they see R&R, rest and recovery is so important, especially
it
when you're
is.
running around all the time and probably getting burnt out. So that's something I try to too. I love sleep too as well. So like I feel that. But switching gears here a little bit, I don't know if you've talked a lot more in depth about this, but you used to be on wrestling forums to connect with other fans, kind of similar how like Twitter is
Right.
today and all of
Yeah.
that, including one of your best friends, I believe you met there. So, can you tell us more about some of your experiences on the forums and when you were active on them?
I couldn't even tell you the name of the firm I was in, to be honest. It was like 10 years ago. Uh, like in France, it wasn't really cool to be a wrestling fan at
Yeah.
that time. So I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to talk to. So I was like, maybe I can go there and see what happens. And yeah, I met a lot of cool people online. And then I met one of my best friends, Amale, and we just connected with wrestling. And we were like, let's go, let's watch some show, let's go together, and then let's train. And that's how I started wrestling, and that's so that's so cool to be
Isn't that
honest.
crazy? Isn't that crazy? That's kind of like why I started podcasting because I similarly, like I said, like Twitter was like a
Yeah,
place where it was kind of like a forum where it's like the wrestling Twitter community. Met a lot
it's
of
like you
people
feel
there.
free, you feel like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna judge you.
Exactly, because I was definitely like a closeted fan for a while, as they
Yeah.
said. But you have so much versatility in your career. You speak three languages, being English, French, and Arabic. So, I mean, can you tell us, obviously, did you grow up primarily learning French? I would
uh
assume.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, can you tell us more about the process of learning the newer languages like English and Arabic and any instance you felt it really benefited you?
So I was learning French like in France and at school and
Yeah.
like outside of the house. I was learning Arabic in the house with my parents. They were only like speaking Arabic, so I didn't have any choice. I could like answer them in French, but they wouldn't answer back in French. They will just answer back in Arabic. So I had to like go from a language to another. And then when I was younger at school, I was really good at English, but it's really not the same as practicing. Just knowing the verbs and everything, it's really different than having a conversation with someone. But then I got into wrestling and I started slowly to get it. But it's like everything in life, you need to practice to get better. So you just need to speak the language every day, every single day. And I think the fact I got better because I used to go to the UK, of course,
Yeah.
for a week or two and just spend the time there with only English speakers, but with different accents as well. So I had to be really concentrated all the time. It was really tough. The I remember the first week I've been to the PC, they asked me to do a promo. It was really hard, like a promo in my third language. Oh my God. But yeah, with
Mhm.
time and practice you get it. And I think it really makes me stand out because there's not a lot of people that speaks several languages
Mhm.
in the wrestling business, and you can connect with more people, with people with different who lives in different countries, who have different backgrounds and stuff like that. So I think it's really interesting to know different languages.
I feel like too, it's especially if you're traveling all the time, definitely picking up the languages and also interacting with your competition and also cutting those promos, I feel like is definitely really, really helpful. And I don't know exactly what you taught in, but you previously were a teacher, if I
Yeah.
recall listening to. What exactly did you teach?
I was a primary school teacher, so the first year I had like 4 years old kids, and then I had 12 years old, and then I got signed by WWE.
There you go. So I know you went to law school too as well, and obviously your path took
Yeah.
you down the wrestling rabbit hole. So now here we are to close things out. What is next on the agenda for Amel? What are some of your personal or professional goals you have lined up for this next year?
Um, I just want to take life as it comes and just like enjoy every moment. Don't focus on too much what's I cannot control and what's too far away. So I just want to wrestle in as many places as I can, as many wrestlers as possible, and just improve and get better. And if there's any opportunity next year or before with anyone else, I will just be ready for whatever it is.
And we look forward to everything that the French Hope has to offer in 2023. Before I let you go, can you please tell the listeners where they can find you on all your social medias?
You can find me on Instagram, ML French Hope, Twitter, same, and TikTok, ML WWE still. They haven't changed it yet, but we're working on it. I am on Twitch now, so yeah, it's ML French Hope. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for following me, and don't forget, hope never dies.
Exactly. Amel, thank you so much for joining me here today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.